In a very beautiful kingdom, a girl named Ella lives a happy life with her loving parents in a grand house. Her father is a wealthy shipper and, in most matters, is away from the family on trips. Still, he spends most of his time with the family. Ella's mother urges her to trust in magic, patience, acceptance, and faith. Ella believes that living animals and birds are her dear companions and often talks to them. When Ella's mother falls seriously ill, Ella and her father become very sad. On her deathbed, her mother tells her young daughter that power and magic arise from grace and always require courage and care. In the next few years, Ella lives a happy life with her caring father, but both miss her mother deeply. When her father announces his plan to remarry, Ella gives him her honest gift of satisfaction and hopes for happiness in this new part of life. Drizella, Ella's new stepmother, along with her two daughters and their grumpy cat Lucifer, moves into Ella and her father's lodge. Lady Tremaine ends up being a proud and cold woman. Ella's father plans to go on another business trip and asks Ella and her stepsisters what gift they want him to bring back. The stepsisters ask for clothes, but Ella only requests the main branch of the tree that brushes against his shoulder during his journey. The next morning, she says goodbye to him for his journey. Lady Tremaine pressures Ella to give her room to Anastasia. Ella is then taken to live in the storeroom, where she finds her mouse friends also living. Despite this unusual adjustment, Ella lives happily and continues to live by her mother's mantra, have courage and be kind. Sometime later, Ella is informed of terrible news by a nearby shepherd. Her father fell ill during his journey and passed away. The shepherd offers his sympathy and gives her the branch she had mentioned. Ella is devastated. Lady Tremaine is also upset and vents her anger on her stepdaughter. After dismissing all the family servants, Lady Tremaine places the entire responsibility on Ella. Despite being deeply sad, Ella sees the heavy tasks as a distraction from her pain. Ella's long subjugation gradually worsens as her grief over her father's death fades, and she realizes she no longer has a caring family. After a particularly cruel and terrible incident, during which her step-family nicknames her Cinderella, Ella takes her horse to the nearby forest to calm herself. She chases away a deer to save it from an approaching hunting party, an act witnessed by a young prince. The prince, hunting with his men, stops Ella's horse and introduces himself as a royal servant. While Ella is free from the charming stranger, she scolds him for hunting a defenseless creature and pleads with him to stop harming the deer. Struck by her sympathetic soul, the prince is surprised. However, before he can learn her name, he is called back by his hunting party. Back at the palace, the ruler tells his father about the beautiful young woman he met in the forest. While his father insists he should marry a princess to gain advantage, the prince feels the longing to break away from a traditional practice. However, as the king grows more ill, he agrees that the prince must marry quickly. The prince reluctantly agrees to his father's wishes. Still, it is suggested that, rather than just for honor and privilege, the entire kingdom be welcomed to the upcoming palace ball. The king agrees, and the prince hopes to see Ella again. As Ella shops in the market square, royal soldiers gather the public and announce that a grand palace ball will soon be held so the prince can choose his princess and that all eligible young maidens are welcome. Having never attended such a grand event and hoping to see the prince again, Ella is eager. Lady Tremaine immediately begins making arrangements to secure the prince's hand for one of her daughters and to bring wealth to the family again. When Ella shows interest in attending the ball, she is laughed at and mocked. Ella, undeterred, finds an old dress of her late mother's and begins sewing it in anticipation of the occasion. However, on the night of the ball, Anastasia steps out in her new outfit and is excited, and Lady Tremaine is thrilled that she has two chances to win. Ella steps out in her dress, but is mocked and cruelly stopped from going with them as her dress is torn apart. As the three women leave, Ella runs to the nursery, crying and grieving. Ella is frightened by an old woman leaning near the garden edge who asks her for some food. Despite her own despair, Ella generously gives the woman a bowl of milk. After drinking it, the old woman transforms into a sparkling fairy and introduces herself as the fairy godmother. The fairy godmother transforms a pumpkin, Ella's mouse friends, a goose, and some lizards into a grand carriage for horses, a coachman, and footmen. Ella's torn pink dress is transformed into a shimmering blue gown, and her tired shoes are replaced with stunning glass slippers. Ella is stunned by the adjustments to her attire and is deeply grateful. However, her fairy godmother warns her that at the final stroke of midnight, the magic will break and everything will return to its original state. While Lady Tremaine sends her daughters to the ball to win the prince's favor, Ella and the prince walk in the palace gardens. Upon realizing the man is the prince, Ella is shocked but sees he is a kind and caring person. He discusses his internal struggle of fulfilling his father's wishes, whom he loves and respects, and fulfilling his own desires. However, as Ella enjoys her time with the prince, she notices the clock beginning to strike midnight and quickly rushes home. In her hurry to leave before the magic breaks, she loses one of her glass slippers on the palace staircase. By the final stroke of midnight, the magic breaks, and everything returns to normal. She walks home in peace, still happy about her magical night. When her step-family returns, they chatter excitedly about the mysterious princess who drew all attention at the ball. Despite their conversation, Ella is quietly joyful. The king, now close to death, gives the prince permission to marry for love. The prince, deeply moved, thanks his father and bids him a tearful goodbye. Becoming king, the prince quickly sends his men to find the mysterious princess who left behind the glass slipper. Women across the kingdom try the slipper, but it fits none of them. Finally, the soldiers arrive at Ella's house. Anastasia unsuccessfully tries the glass slipper. As the soldiers prepare to leave, they hear a song from the upstairs window. Ella, eager to maintain her calm, is revealed when the disguised prince exposes himself. The prince orders his men to find the one singing. In the drawing room, Ella and the prince meet as they are, a young ruler and a kind-hearted young woman. They vow to accept each other as they are. Ella puts on the glass slipper, which fits perfectly. Before leaving with the prince, Ella forgives her stepmother, whose selfish plans are revealed and stopped entirely. Ella and the prince marry, with their late parents' portraits hung side by side in the palace. And the story ends here.